Now I would like to introduce Mike for those of you that maybe want to transition from an executive to non-executive career. So Mike Clancy has been working in the recruiting search firm industry since 1999, and we are working on some of the projects, and he has been an ambassador for NEDonBoard recently. So I'm very pleased to hear about all the advice Mike is going to share with us tonight. So please welcome Mike.
Good evening, everybody. As Jean-Philippe said, my background is in recruitment, specifically non-exec recruitment. I did first role in 1999. I worked for a small investment company. We had shareholder rights to put independent chairman on the board of the investments we made, and we invariably took up those rights. That business then invested in a recruitment business specialising in non-exec recruitment, which I joined to set up the London office in 2001. When you may remember, new investment activity fell off a cliff. So that was my route into recruitment. Michael indicated he was what I call an accidental NED. It came about through an issue in his life, and he then took on the NED role. I went into recruitment, very similar to what I call the accidental path. 7 years ago I struck it on my own. I've got a business called Walgrove, and the centre of gravity of that business is non-exec director appointments, UK SMEs, principally family-owned or private equity-backed. So it's perspectives from that lens, or through that lens, that I'll give you. The steer I've been given is to perhaps advise how to work with recruiters, headhunters, exec search, call them what you like. I would rather be pedantic tonight and say those who specialise in non-executive search. Michael indicated robust, rigorous, transparent processes. Increasingly, recruiters are used to manage NED appointment processes. Supportive of that, Harvey Nash, recruitment firm you've probably heard, they do an annual NED survey. I don't think they'll mind me quoting one of the findings in that survey. Everybody in their contact network who took a role in 2015 was asked the same question: how did you find yourself in that role, how was it managed? For the first time, the majority of respondents said that role was through a recruiter. A recruiter was engaged to run the process. Very Brexit figures, we're talking 52-48, but it had tipped into majority. So the fundamental question, working with recruiters as part of your networking, does it matter? On that current evidence, I would indicate that it does. Now, you have your own networks, you have working with recruiters. I'm going to split working with recruiters into two. Working with recruiters, what I call off assignment and on assignment, and it's very different. Working with recruiters off assignment is all about raising your profile, your expertise, your competence, and the board situations that you believe you'll be most additive to. Where can you help? In the SME arena, most non-exec appointments are event or issue driven. I'm discounting PLCs because obviously the corporate governance requirement, comply and explain, that's what the FTSE 100 do, that's what the FTSE 250 do, and that is filtering through the mid-cap and the small-cap market. Private equity-backed businesses, family-owned businesses, there is no obligation to put an NED on the board. Excuse me. So they've voluntarily made that decision, and it will be event or issue-driven. Therefore, they are probably addressing something that is specific. My advice to people who want to profile themselves for NED roles, therefore, is promote yourself in a specific way. The three top fundamentals are: what board experience have you got as executive? If that's limited, what's your functional expertise? Michael, background accounting, that'll be one. Marketing, human resources, IT may be another. The other area is issue experience. Have you got M&A integration experience? Have you got international expansion? What businesses have you worked with? Where have they been in their life cycle? Those things are the fundamentals of making your case. And when you boil it down and you blend it together, it should be able to be portrayed in 2 or 3 sentences. That's your networking message, that's what you're known for, that's what you market. Otherwise, if you put something vague in the marketplace, I would like to do NED, bit of this, bit of that, doesn't matter what the rest of the CV says, you've lost people's interest in you. You automatically kind of become a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 candidate. Be very specific, hunt that specific opportunity, being a 9 out of 10 candidate straight away. That's my advice. You will have to deal with the realisation you are ruling things out. The quid pro quo is you're probably ruling things out that you weren't going to get anyway. So play the percentages. The golf analogy, if you can't hit it far, hit it straight. You know, so go for what you're good at and stick to that, and then network. Get over little things like send anxiety, contact people and let them know. And the fundamental to all that is your CV. Who in the room believes their CV is absolutely bob on for their NED search? Or, you know, possibly a little bit of improvement required, or actually fundamentally quite a lot? Don't raise your hands, it's okay, but I'm just prompting you. Rhetorical question. But it's first and foremost, it is the thing to get right. If you can't do it, and lots of people can't, you know, just anxiety, it's hard to write about yourself, get professional help. CV, first building block. If you've got your CV right, then working with Jean-Philippe, again your profile in his business and his network, that flows as a consequence. So get the CV right, get it orientated to your NED search. Don't fall into the trap of having an exec CV and kind of hoping that'll work in the exec arena. It doesn't. You know, exec CVs serve a different purpose. They're more job application CVs. NED CVs have got to have, specifically networking capability. By networking capability, if I send an NED CV to Michael, if that CV is well prepared, he sends it to a contact of his and it can travel independently. That is what you want. It's the old analogy, if you want to dribble the football around the pitch yourself and score a goal, or you want to pass around the pitch 5 or 6 different people and the goal is scored. It's that kind of mentality. So working with recruiters, great CV. Be known for something specific and provide that CV with updates. That's not changing roles, but successes within roles constitute an update. If you're an NED for a business and you raise money or you recapitalise or you expand overseas and it's a board level decision that's gone well and been successful, update your CV and circulate it. It conveys you're interested, it conveys your network, and it reminds people about you. And positive interactions have a very long half-life. So remember that. So lots of, now kind of quickly, so I don't take too much of your time, on assignment, okay, couple of things regarding, because the networking's gone well, you're in a process, you're in the frame, and I've got a kind of a numeric to kind of emphasise the point I wish to make, but I call it 60 to 6. The probability is that if a recruiter is tasked to bring together or run a process for a client, they're going to start with a long list, 50 or 60 suggestions that broadly match the objective criteria. What you really want to do is navigate that process down such that those situations you're best suited for, you are recognised and found, and you were in the 6. And what do I mean by the 6? That's the first interview stage with the client. There's probably an full interview stage with the recruiter about the 12 or 15 candidate mark, but then you're in the 6, the 3, the 1. The 3 is the short list, the 1 is the preferred candidate stage. So in terms of the perspective I'm going to offer, it's that 60 to 6. The best way to go about a non-exec recruitment process is actually to behave like a non-exec. And the way to do that is be on receive mode and not transmit. Gather as much information as you can, as Michael indicated, what's going on, what's here, what's the issue, what's the event, how will that change the business, what are the dynamics, Mr. Recruiter, Mrs. Recruiter, have you met the team, have you met all the other members of the board, what's going on. Those are the kind of questions, I wouldn't say that they're grit in the oyster questions, they're information exchange questions, but that's what you should be doing. And then it's the self-assessment. That information you get, issue identified, event that's forthcoming, am I best suited to help? If you are, push yourself into the process and explain why. Now, the other thing to bear in mind about a recruitment process is actually the recruiter doesn't do the hiring. The client makes the decision. The recruiter structures a process, runs a process, facilitates a process, and makes recommendations. But the recruiter can't legislate entirely for fit, chemistry, and how you're going to get on an interview. That's down to you and the client. But really, the way to work with the recruiter is the 60 to the 6. Manage that process, think like a non-exec, start with a good CV, and give to the process. The point of change for anything that you are not quite comfortable about is probably shortlist or preferred candidate. If you've got a concern about people, information, that is the time to ask. That is your window, because you're in the frame to be considered and appointed. And that's when there is the time to get everything out on the table. And that really is real non-exec behaviour. Any issues I should be aware about, any people I've not met, any influences that are not currently covered off in my due diligence. And the other thing is, don't let yourself down at interview. Do research into an organisation and prepare. It's not executive search where someone rings you up and is trying to entice you out of an existing role. So it's not a negotiation at that point, and it's not, well, you've approached me, tell me what you want. Research the company and really get into the detail. That might corroborate what you've got in the job brief from the recruiter as well. I've rattled through that. I had cue cards, I was nervous, didn't use one, so I'm sure I've missed things out. I'm sure I've included things I didn't intend to say. So, but I hope that was useful. I am staying for a drink. Be happy to field questions one-on-one, and I don't want to interrupt the wine and networking further than that.
Thank you.